I just got done with editing the video. I've been doing this for close to half a year, and it's finally done. This premiere kind of gets into some dark stuff sometimes, but I hope you appreciate the ending. But now it's my time to rest, and I hope it's your time to have a good time. Ah, that sounds really lame. I hope you enjoy the video.
Man, I really like Pokemon. Sometimes I just wish I could play all the games. All at once. Wait, what if I play all the games? All at once. Kinda like a 9-way, and not in a dirty way. But if I sneak into Bill's secret lab, I can steal his cloning machine. And with this, kinda smaller than I was expecting, I can use it to clone myself! But wait, what are the rules? I mean, you gotta admit, it's kind of confusing. Well, it's a good thing we have this.
Oh, but that's boring. Get this part. Suck diddly off. So you want to know how a 9-way Soul Link works, eh?
Well, you came to the right place. See, when a mommy and a daddy love each other so much.
Not that kind of 9-way, sir.
Well, great. Now I'm embarrassed. All the other regular rules from a hardcore Nuzlocke, of course, apply.
Submode, no items in battle except for hull items. One Pokemon to be caught per route. If a Pokemon faints, they're unusable for the rest of the run, and level cap.
However, since there are 9 total mainline Pokemon generations,
You'll need 9 of you all to work together in order for you to survive. At least until another generation comes around. Oh. Wrong room. Moreover, when one of you catches a Pokemon,
for example, a Pidgey on Route 1 in Generation 1,
the other will have to link their next Pokemon they catch to that Pidgey in order for them to be useful in battle. This will be Link 2 in this scenario since Link 1 is technically the starters. And if that Pidgey dies in battle, the other 8 will die alongside them.
it's a massacre! There's so much blood!
And that's it. Good luck! Hi, I'm number 7 from Gen 7, and the powers that be have decided that each gen will be going through each gym based on whoever had the hardest time. So try to be nice to the others. They're going through a lot. Clearly, I'm the one that had the toughest time with Gym 1. However, before retailing my battle, we'll be starting with Generation 1. And we already have an issue. Since number 1, with all his nostalgia, decided to do his game in Pokemon Yellow, we won't know for certain if each gym is guaranteed. For some reason, the Pokemon calculator over at Showdown doesn't seem to work for Gens 1 through 2. That, or he can't seem to figure out how to use a simple calculator. Work! Not really surprised since Gen 1 is known for the glitches. Moreover, since this will be in Pokemon Yellow, number 1 will be forced to use Pikachu as their starters, which can't even evolve. So if we happen to lose the first attempt, which I am not suggesting starting over on purpose, we might want to reconsider the games we play. But in the meantime, number 1 will still have to face Brock with a Pikachu, and 2 plus 2 does not equal fish. At first, he made sure to obtain as many Pokemon as he could in the hopes of getting at least one type advantage. Is this Chansey okay? But after realizing how bad Brock's moveset was, Butterfree freed us from our first badge. That was a stupid joke. For number 2 in Crystal, the starter of choice was obvious, Totodile.
because that dump truck doesn't lie, and neither do I.
Also because it's the starter with the highest chance of winning with the move Rage being an almost guaranteed win against Faulkner. Just gotta be careful with that sand attack. By the way, number 2 nicknamed a bird after our dog, Gemma.
He's so fluffy, I'm gonna die!
Look, we're about to nickname probably hundreds of Pokemon in this run. I already know we're gonna depend a lot on random things around the house in order to nickname our Pokemon. Right, I'm gonna name this Juju Giraffe. Lastly, with the crit on this Wild Zubat, we encountered our very first failed catching attempt of this challenge. Rest in power, Wild Zubat. On to number 3 with Sapphire. Number 3 chose Lil Zwigo as their starter. Right after their first rival fight, they happened to forget to heal. Rookie move already from the start. And this Wurmple happened to be the first potential link on Route 101. Thankfully, they were able to escape before losing Lil Zwigo, but lost the encounter as a result. Number 3 had a rough start.
Why don't they heal you after the rival fight?
In Pokemon Platinum, number 4 had a difficult time choosing which starter would be best.
Hurry up!
Yarrrrrr. Just choose already.
He chose Turtwig. The goal is to make Roark, a historically difficult first gym to deal with in a Nuzlocke, that much easier. After being gaslit by Professor Rowan to fill out his Pokedex, he completely rocked Roark with growth on Badoo. Ah? Rock jokes are taken for granted. Rock jokes are too niche. Not much happened to number 5, other than they chose to pick a fighting type that should be helpful for the Elite Four as their starter. Defeated the gym with very little difficulty, and then they hold this entire challenge on their shoulders. So please don't mess up. It's so weird when I see an actual background when they introduce rivals. So used to seeing a void in my front yard. Choosing Fennekin as their starter. Apparently training in X and Y is very tedious for number 6.
And I recorded it? Why did I record it? What a waste of my life!
Thankfully we're not as much in a time crunch like CPC was in the previous video. So go check it out. Anyway, at the gym battle, number 6 lost Pavilion. Not gonna lie, not super mad because of the old 666 thing. Just annoying that Infestation lasted all 5 turns and they were only paralyzed once. An 11% chance of happening, but still really unlucky for number 6. And finally, my turn. And this is where I'd put my Ultra Sun and Moon. If I had one! You might have noticed we're doing the tertiary Pokemon games of each generation. Might have to change that later. As my starter, I got a modest Popplio. You could tell that I was eating Indian food at the time. Very quickly, we all learned that it's best not to catch every Pokemon from every route immediately. For instance, there is a 40% chance of getting a good Pokemon from Howley City, but there are ways to increase the odds even further if I wait to obtain some of the other Pokemon in future routes first. Making use of the dupes clause essentially guaranteeing a catch. But for now, let's discuss why I got Gym 1. As per usual, this gen tends to have a tighter level cap game compared to the other gens, meaning getting a Pokemon fully evolved to fight off the average New York rat isn't likely. There's not even a lot of Pokemon I can obtain that'd give me a typo advantage. A simple fighting type would suffice, Game Freak! Thankfully, despite this, at least I passed the first trial with only 1 loss. But if they didn't miss that last attack, bro, I was gonna make everyone restart so fast. Albeit, I'll admit that I actually got probably one of the easier, toughest gyms. Hopefully the others can handle theirs. Speaking of the others, number 8 decided with his strategy to go with Sobble as their choice of starter, despite the first gym leader being a grass specialist. Mainly because the third gym is just that difficult in Gen 8. Plus with Milo's horrid move pool, we weren't too worried about number 8. Number 8's gonna have a lot of links coming from this area. This wild area though, shoo, we gonna eat! Though we all ultimately decided to randomize whatever the encounter is for each section of the wild area, so as to prevent number 8 from choosing whatever Pokemon he'd like at any given time. We also plan on only utilizing the wild area whenever we absolutely need to. You can probably tell that 9 gens tend to be risk adverse. This way we can plan things ahead of time as opposed to putting ourselves into predicaments without thought. Oh no, TikTok died. Made this joke way before TikTok got banned. Oh wait, now it's back. Now it's gone again. Now it's back. What's more problematic than the gym is actually the rival right before it. This is because Colossus has Endeavor, so it's really easy to lose a Pokemon here. Thankfully number 8 can just overlevel at this point of the challenge, not at the gym, to overpower Colossus, and run down the gym thereafter with the proper levels. Winning at 12:13 a.m. at night. We're finally at the final gym for Gym 1, and we are all tired. Oh, I didn't mean to... You know what? It saves time. You okay there, buddy? When it comes to number 9's encounters, we pretty much did the same thing as we did for number 8. Randomize encounters, and he can get them whenever he needs to. However, when he does decide to go after an encounter, he will have to immediately lock into the next possible link of the chain. And just like in Gen 8, once again, the first gym was a breeze. Helps that they had a fire-breathing crocodile. Anyway, I'm out. Good luck, other gens. My name is number 9. No, I did not have it the hardest in this gym. Yes, it was number 5, but we'll get to that in a sec. It just happened to be the fact that I had the easiest gyms of all the gens. So all the gens decided that I would discuss Gym 2 since I had discussed something. So here we are. No, I'm not salty. And I'm in a bathroom! By the way, since I'm still in the bathroom, the voiceover is going to sound a little off, so I apologize. But anyway, before taking on Misty, despite not being able to quickly gauge the Pokemon's experience, you can still train in the wild to level creep. Just be careful not to overlevel. Man, Pikachu being confused by Bill's furry outfits gotta be the cutest thing in the series. Just don't think too much about it, Pikachu. At the pool gym, mid-battle, Misty randomly used an X defend, which I guess is something that they're pre-programmed to do. Maybe an introduction to the mechanic? That or Misty is just as confused by the physical special split of the early gens as I am. I mean, it's called Fire Punch for a reason, am I right? Such a strange time to be a Poke fan. Maybe have like a meme of like some kind of Pokemon nerd. Oh no, editor's gonna put my face on. I don't really need to do a lot of editing to make him look like a nerd. Back in number 2's run, he obtained the Miracle Seed, which is funny to see what becomes commonalities between the generations. We got like 4 of these suckers at this point.
Some of the guys use them as paperweights.
Afterward, they forgot to not go into the grass again. Which is good on the one hand because CPC is finally touching grass, but not good in the other because we really need to limit our encounters right now. I don't know why these guys can't just like dodge Pokemon like I can in my generation. I swear these guys are stupid AF. Oh, AF means as f. Moving on, right before Bugsy, number 2 lost their Butterfree to this random trainer outside the cave exit. Our second death of the run. Their reasoning for the loss was to avoid overleveling Totodile right before the gym. But you gotta think about the other generations. Think, number 2, think! In the gym, Pidgey, or Gemma, alone was enough to win. Oh, hold on, I gotta take this. This guy is so rude. Yeah, how come he thinks it's okay to pause the whole world to answer the phone? So, did you watch AGT last night? None of us are really too worried about number 3's gym, since Alakazam was on his team. By the way, we're all allowed to have trade evolutions since we now have acquaintances. Though it was funny that number 3's Zubat missed Supersonic 12 times in a row. That's a 1 in 1,306 chance. That's almost shiny odds. Okay, my shiny odds. By the 7th miss in a row, we were rooting for Total Drama, Zubat, to keep missing for the world record. Number 4 also didn't face too many issues, having 2 Intimidators for the Prologue fight. Was initially worried about Gym 2 after losing 2 Pokemon total now, but we did the math, and Roselia can sweep Gardenia using a combination of Growth and Mega Drain. We'll skip Gen 2 for now. Hey, Roselia isn't a water type. Number 6's turn was full of catching fails and wins. For one, they encountered the Melcombi, wah wah. Squirtle was chosen as their second starter since it'll be useful against the second gym. He was at first hesitant to catch the static Snorlax since they would have had to use them for the next gym based off of their current available links. Being a normal type won't be super helpful for a rock gym, but seeing how they had Wartortle and Diggersby, that and Snorlax can learn Rock Smash, he opted to get them. Though with Fletchinger's Flame Body and Snorlax having a really low catch rate, it's gonna be a really hard catch. Never mind, they got it on the first Pokeball. And it seemed all that worry was for naught since Diggersby was enough to win. As for numbers 7 through 9, they didn't even bother to do the gyms because of number 5. Here's what happened. After notating all the available routes in each game, it seemed that since Generation 5 has the least number of catchable Pokemon, we're all depending on him to never miss a single catch. See, we can all technically fail to catch at least a few Pokemon, and while number 9 actually has 2 less encounters than number 5, at least he can resort to buying the expansion pack to get more encounters. Though, we're all cheap, so we're gonna try to avoid that if we can. However, if number 5 fails to catch a Pokemon, that's a loss for literally everyone else. But anyway, getting to Gym 2 went well for number 5. Lillipup evolved to have Intimidate, which is huge against Lenore's physical attackers. The Rock'n'Roller that he caught in the cave had an Everstone. Why is Game Freak so obsessed with that joke? He did lie that he had a Snivy to get a Miracle Seed. He was trying to be funny with that Miracle Seed joke from earlier, but no, lying is bad. It always leads to
unforeseen consequences.
Finally, in the battle with Lenora, number 5's goal was initially to weaken her ear with growls and intimidates, really like decreasing the odds of getting swept. Doesn't stop crits though. Timber then took the dog out to the back. Whoa, dark. Yeah, I know. I heard it when it came out of my mouth. Ha, that's what she said. To avoid losing a Pokemon to doubly powdered Retaliate, Rock'n'Roller was switched in, and this is where things went downhill. As opposed to using Retaliate, Lenora instead landed a Hypnosis. Thankfully, number 5 can still reuse the same strategy as before to lower their attack, and eventually their accuracy by slapping around some mud, all leading to number 5 switching in their starter. What? They then got a Leer out, lowering their defense, and I think you know where this is heading. They lost the starter to a crit. Then they had the audacity to get a Hypnosis on the next Pokemon. We're literally more likely to find a shiny at this point. Your guys' shinies. So we'll now have to restart the challenge and keep a close eye on number 5. Also, if you're wondering why, since number 5 seemed to have the hardest gym, why isn't he talking about this gym? Well, he had a harder challenge later on. Attempt 2. And finally, number 5 is where everything went downhill the first time. Found a wild sock with an expert belt on it, basically soloed the gym. Go figure. Almost mixed up for what happened with attempt 1. Now let's not mess it up, boys!
Push it up your butt. This guy stinks.
Now that we're actually making progress, the other gens of course quickly got through their respective parts. Though number 2 didn't get to use Alakazam this time around. And number 6 almost lost to Grant. Bibarel just wasn't as good as Diggersby. Plus Tyrant flinched Snorlax 3 times in a row! Number 7 in the Wishy-Washy trial got unlucky with the helper Pokemon. It's either a Wishy-Washy, which isn't much of a problem, or a Alomomola. Alomomola has the ability to heal status conditions, HP, and strengthen the totem Pokemon's attack. Eventually, number 7 was forced to send out their starter. Oh no. Echoed Voice should eke out the win until this moment. Number 7 was one attack away from maybe killing Wishy-Washy. Though, 1, we're not really sure if it would actually kill them. 2, even if that were to be done, Alomola could double slap and kill the starter, and you know what we're willing to do when it comes to starters. And 3, Alomola could heal Wishy-Washy just before we could kill them. However, number 7 could have switched into another Pokemon, but any attack from Wishy-Washy would have taken at least 50% of any of their HP. After 4 turns of Echo Voice, it should be around 160 base power. Do I have your guys' blessings?
I think it was you! Never doubted you for a moment.
Finishing off the second gym, number 8 just needed Greedent to use Stockpile along with Leftovers as an assist to beat their gym. Oh, and I forgot to turn on battle animations. I'm not starting over. As for me, Crocodile ought to be able to sweep, with the help of Terrestrialization. As long as Sudowoodo doesn't crit here. Okay, phew! Anyway, it's your turn, number 4.
Do you really want to hear
About Gym 3? Well, I mean, do you really? Let's just say it didn't start out well. Yeah, you do that. I'm gonna get some coffee. It all started with a trash can. Got it on the first try. Got it on the first try. Got it right on the first try. Oh, come on! Got it on the first try? What? How? Got it on the first try. Haha! First try. He did not, in fact, get it right on the first try. Lieutenant Search wasn't actually a tough gym just because Voltorb doesn't have any electric moves. And Diglett can surprisingly take on the rest by himself. And not surprisingly because Diglett has a type advantage, but that Raichu literally couldn't even touch Diglett. It's like he's bullying him. He even missed Growl! You can't even miss that move! So he really got unlucky with that 1 in 256 glitch that happens in Gen 1. Not a really well built gym. Gotta say. Stop it! He's already dead! But for real though, it was numbers 2 through 4 that were too close to call. Starting with the infamous Whitney. Technically, Crocodile alone can take on this gym with just Furry Cutter. But the chances of missing Furry Cutter and or being flinched by Miltank's Stomp are too close for comfort. You know, getting stomped by a cow sounds kinda kinky actually. All that, coupled with a track, the odds weren't looking too good. But when we realized Crocodile was female, meaning a track wouldn't work on them, we were praising all day. Also, Game Freak, thanks for being homophobic. Against Watson, there was a slight scare. We did the math, and Dusclops should be able to survive at least one self-destruct from Voltorb. However, they instead went for Rollout. I guess we forgot they had other moves. It's in the docs, number 3. But since Weego is OP, number 3 got through his short scare. Now it's time for the main attraction, the true toughest gym of this run. Oh, you know it to be true! My team seemed pretty decent. Both Grottle and Crobat have Bite. Staravia has Pluck to take away Miss Maggie's Citrus Berry. Roselia is a beast as per usual, but I feel it's time to catch a very important Pokemon. CPC, switch the screen! I don't know what he's asking me to do. Magikarp. For real though, Gyarados is pretty much the Nuzlocke Pokemon of all time. Though, since we all have sticks up our butts, even though Dupe's Claws is optional in this run, we'll try not to overdo catching Gyaradoses. Otherwise, our entire teams will be completely just Gyaradoses. So we all decided to have a max of 2 Gyaradoses per gen, especially since gens 1 and 2 have static encounters for Magikarp. But why catch Gyarados in particular against Fontina? Other than having Bite, they have access to Dragon Rage, which according to the math is a 2-shot against Miss Maggie's. This mic is getting really heavy. Ow. Ooh, I'm not even halfway through. And I'm gonna need as many hacks as I can get when it comes to not losing a Pokemon in this gym. Grotto luckily got a flinch on Duskull, so no burning this time around. Because Haunter isn't able to hit Staravia, I was able to max out Double Team. Please don't judge me. This will force Miss Maggie to only use Magical Leaf, ultimately giving me the win without a loss. Oh, come on guys, it's a scary gym!
He doesn't even go here.
I use strategy. Whatever, moving on. With an Eviolite and a live fire starter, number 5 got through his gym pretty easy. Number 6 caught a Woobat with the ability Unaware, which is perfect for a gym that utilizes Power Up Punch and Hone Claws for their strategy. By the way, I didn't name them Glee because I watch it or anything.
Come on, number 6. Tell him why'd you call him that.
It's because I was watching a 5-hour documentary about it.
Dork.
By the way, after doing some math, it seems that this gen's gyms probably have EVs and IVs, because Mienfoo should have fainted to this attack. But either way, because they didn't, and they got Braxton to this specific HP, Machoke with a crit could have fainted them. And you know how we are with our starters. Thankfully, it seems that Floette was capable of tanking the attack. Also, a crit. See? See? The biggest problem with the Fire Totem, at least in number 7's case, isn't actually the totem Pokemon itself. Weirdly enough, Salazzle is basically useless with number 7 having 2 Pokemon that can one-shot them. It's really more so the difficulty of fighting 3 strong Pokemon in a row without healing. More of a battle of attrition. Also, never mind about one-shotting. Wait, that's impossible! I guess Pokemon Moon has EVs in their totem Pokemon as well. By Gen 8, we recognize that most of number 8's team has already been set in place due to everyone else making self-preserving decisions. He could only come up with really 1 extra Pokemon. There happens to be a cave near Gym 1 that he he purposefully avoided getting a Pokemon. Starting for the cave, he accidentally ran into a Pokemon en route.
Ah, dang it! Wait. Roly-Poly isn't even that bad, actually.
Roly-Poly is actually a perfect Pokemon for Gym 3. Will-O-Wisp doesn't affect them, fire moves are ineffective, and they learn rock-type moves. A blessing in disguise! I can't tell you how relieved we are after completing Gym 3. I know it sounds like it was an easy set of gyms. My camera shut off. So if I'm in a weird position, I'm sorry. But there are so many Nuzlocke killers here. With Whitney, Kabu, and especially Fantina. Phew! Well, at least those hurdles are finally over.
How dare you say such a thing?
When you know what I went through! I didn't say anything offensive. Oh, hi, number 7. You know in the mornings where you just wake up on top of a bush? That's what happened to me. Or, number 1. Well, anyway, in the safari, like number 2, number 1 also forgot to use a repel before walking to the grass. So now he's facing 2 choices. You could almost call it a Shitaki's choice. By the way, I do want you to know that there is a puppy right here. It's important to me that you know that there is a dog right below me right here. Oh, and now she's licking herself. All right, gotta explain who Shitaki is first. Shitaki is a Pokemon we used in a challenge long ago. You should go and check it out. Oh, sure, it sounds like fun.
Hello, everybody. This is Christian Pokemon Champion here with another
It's just a sucky video. I wonder if I should actually keep this right here. Is that better? Maybe? And that's the story of me repositioning my mic. So now number 1 has to either catch Shitaki, a debatably weak Pokemon, or use one of his skips. All right, now skips. So you know how every single generation has a maximum number of Pokemon they can catch just because of how many routes there are in the game? No? Well, you should. Number 9 explained it not that long ago. I didn't shake my head, this guy's silly. While the only Pokemon in this Link 9 so far is Rhyhorn, number 6 ought to do a number on the Fairy Gym with the Rhyperior. So number 1 ultimately decided to catch the Shitaki. But at least now you can see how we can utilize the differing routes in each generation to our advantage. It does mean that some of the generations will have more flexibility than the others. But anyway, after pimping out an elderly man's teeth, number 1 started towards the next gym. Since Fear was generally faster than Victory Bell, it prevented the Stallfest from wrap. Mantangela gives off some character that's literally just hair vibes. With Vileplume taken down with a crit, we're starting Gym 4 off well. But now, for my gym. It began with a steady stream. Oh, Shitaki, this is a Pokemon. Even though Sudowoodo, being a static encounter, is usually welcomed, they're not especially good against the upcoming Ghost Gym. I ultimately opted not to capture them. Plus, it's funny watching them hopping over the trees. Got legs for days. Instead, since Gengar was such a threat, I decided to call in my first of only 2 Magikarps for this run. Gyarados having Bite being the primary reason, along with a Drowsy for the Psychic advantage over Gengar's Poison typing, which they're 1 level away from evolving. By the way, am I the only person that wants evolution to happen mid-battle? I think it'd be a really cool mechanic. I mean, it happened in the anime. It should happen for us. We don't stand Drowsy here anyway, so if they happen to faint, we won't be mad. Speaking of, according to the math, on average, each generation should be able to have at least 4 more Pokemon to be obtained before each gym. And since we haven't lost any Pokemon yet, we could also lose 5 Pokemon with each gym and still be fine.
But wait, I'm not made out of wood.
But anyway, I'm wasting space as I'm writing this while recording me staring at this dude.
Please don't leave me. I have no friends.
Also, I can't find my chair, and we have a Christmas tree inside the living room now, so I kind of just designated in the stairway now. Time to battle Bull Haircut. Drowsy alone was capable of handling Ghastly, Haunter, and half of the other Haunter. So far, so great, actually. Because Nightshade got an update in Gen 2, it can't hit Pidgeotto. And this mostly goes the same for Gengar. The difference is that they have Dream Eater. So Sand Attack seemed to be the best strategy. At least, at the time. Oh no. Pidgeotto! No! She's going to the couch now. So we lost our first Link. Well, at least when it comes to this attempt. And it gets worse! Despite having an entire beach in his eyes, he hit Gyarados immediately with Hypnosis. At least it's almost guaranteed that they'll go for Dream Eater. So a Stun Spore from Shitaki Sr. might get us out of this mess. It seems, instead, Gengar is really good at staring contests, so I came up with a sneaky tactic. If I went back and forth between 2 Pokemon, Dream Eater will eventually run out of PP. And by a literal miracle, the starter was able to duck and weave and avoid every attack from Gengar to get the win. I mean, I did just say we could lose 5 Pokemon per gym, but I didn't mean to start, like, now. Okay, let's look at the damage. Links 2 and 5 are gone now. I mean, I know number 3 was really hoping to keep Link 2 because their Dust had Protect, which is really useful against Norman's Kings. So now that gym's gonna be really hard for him. But that's future number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9's problem. Dang, I didn't get the hiker. I'm just gonna try anyway. No, number 3, we don't have time for that. It'll only take a couple minutes. 1 hour later. Phew, finally found it. It only took me like 700 tries.
This is why we don't let you make decisions.
The only good thing about when a Pokemon faints, or what we call breaking a link, is that at least it will make the next gym that much easier, since we can use the known fainted links as a meat shield for safer switch-ins. Moreover, since number 3 had a couple of really powerful water types, Flannery was... Please don't make me say this.
Come on, it'll be funny.
A wash.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine. When you're
Learning from my mishap, number 4 decided to fill up all of their slots for their team. And based off what was currently catchable on this route, only Abra and Shinx are available. Oh, and Kricketot. Okay, you know that CBC loves Tot. But even our love for him... Oh, I should probably actually get him. But even our love for him is not enough to lose this challenge.
Betray.
So we're not gonna hunt in the morning. I'm sorry, my sweet Tot. Hey, there you go. That's nice. In the Maylene fight, knowing that Star Trek would die anyway, because of me. Oh, number 4 really butchered Star Trek's name. Anyway, they were able to muscle through her first 2 Pokemon, pun not intended, then get taken down by Ludicolo, whereby Torterra was able to one-shot them using Earthquake. Or I guess Confuse Ray. I guess that's what happens when you write a script while doing your challenge. Was I drunk when I wrote this? Not much happened in Gen 5. But while he wasn't recording, number 5, by 1 tile, encountered a Pokemon because he wasn't using Repel. So now he has a Sand tile. That is the 3rd time so far, guys. He defeated Lisa, by the way. When we first started this challenge, we weren't thinking that number 6 would be the one using up all the links.
For me, I had my money on number 5 or 9.
What did I do?
But moving forward,
Ludicolo joined the team. Gym 4 in X and Y was overall pretty easy because of our least favorite Pokemon of all time. But Jumpluff was really close to killing number 6's starter. All of our starters were 1 crit away from saying goodbye.
Get out.
No. Number 7's strategy for the grass trial was to weaken Lurantis' attack, getting off roughly 2 with Ian before pivoting to Smosh, getting rid of the Trumpy, doing so that all of his team levels up. Man, I want that experience share. All I got is this dinky one.
What the hell is even that?
By the way, once you defeat both helper Pokemon, they shouldn't come back. Did you know that? Because we didn't know that until this trial.
man, I always hate this gym. I always have to change the remotes.
For number 8, since everyone else needed specific teams to succeed in their runs, they only had Gage. By the way, only the real ones understand what we mean by that name. So if they let this one Pokemon faint, it's kinda it for him. But he turned that disadvantage to an advantage, while decreasing the leader's stats seemed inconsistent at best for results, with the exception to the trials, that is. Increasing our own Pokemon stats seemed a bit better. Yo, what's this mysterious stake in the ground? Miraidon, you're a little on the way there, buddy. Kofu, should we get out of this sandstorm? Kofu? It's literally warping the wall behind you! With number 9, grass better than water, lols. We need better writers.
You wrote that.
No, I didn't. Number 3?
It's your turn.
But it's cold out here.
Well, too dang bad. We don't have enough rooms in the house. So, good luck.
Prior to taking on the next 2 gyms, number 1's goal was to obtain a couple of good Pokemon to link for Koga and Sabrina. Great, now it's snowing. Oh, this is great. This is great. Oh boy. I missed the ball? Look here, I never miss the ball. It's my turn, number 1.
All right.
Hurry up, it's my turn next. It's fine. I'm fine. He did get the difficult to catch Snorlax. Overall, number 1 used mainly Dig to get through Koga. It's funny in this gen when they use Dig, they're like, I'm out. Even under a minimized muck, Dig got through them pretty quickly. With the exploding Weezing, number 1 had the choice of switching to another Pokemon in the hopes of tanking the self-destruct, or use Dig in the hopes that he wouldn't use self-destruct, or that he would be faster than them. Thankfully, it worked out. By the way, if you hear any cars in the background, I'm literally outside and I'm next to a busy street. Thankfully, Dig did work out because it did make Weezing miss. He likely would have been fine, but it's good to be safe. In the fighting gym, despite having a 5 against 2 advantage in his favor, it's still a bit concerning. Firstly, the dude can literally lift a boulder over his head. That mustache. Mustache, 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 mustache. But mostly it's due to Hypnosis being a thing. And yes, they did hit Hypnosis turn 1. If number 2 didn't have a Gyarados to possibly tank a Dynamic Punch,
Brooklyn Rage!
he likely would have had a tougher time. Now, for my turn, we decided that I had the toughest time with this gym. As you already heard from number 2, I no longer have Dustox to use Protect. I was definitely a bit worried and a little butthurt when I first heard about the news.
You're the one that killed Dustox!
Calm down.
Stop whining about it!
But then I learned that Pelipper can also learn Protect. Look, I'm sorry for losing Dustox. We cool? Yeah, we're cool. Normally this would mean that we're covered, but Pelipper can only do about 10% damage towards Slakking at a time, and seeing how there's only 10 PP in Protect, I'm only set to handle one of the 2 Slakings. Ha, PP. To insulate the issue of the latter Slakking, I decided to obtain a Rock type. Not as good as Protect, but at least I have a natural defense against Slaking's normal attacks. Plus, I'm almost guaranteed to find one if I use Rock Smash at the certain locations. Say hello to Golem, everybody.
Hi, Golem.
Moreover, while in the battle, I also just learned the very obvious fact that Dig is basically Protect, but also with damage. Is there something wrong with my eyesight? I was surprised, but this ball of ADHD, Scott DeWaz, won me the match without even using protection at all. So now I'm a father. So, now I'm a father. Did I say that joke right?
I mean, you kind of ruined it by asking.
Number 4's 5th gem was pretty simple. Even through Intimidate, Commercial fainted Crasher Awakes Gyarados. Helps to get that crit. For Quagsire, predictably, Death Battle was able to 1v1 them, avoiding the doubly effective Ice Fang. Topimac was able to take the hit so that Commercial could come back and finish the job. Hey! No running around the pool. Number 5's gym was also pretty simple. Sock, the goat, handled Krokorok. Because he found a Leaf Stone, Palpatine somehow lost. I'm not gonna lie, when X-Girl went for Home Claws, our heart might have palpitated, but it ultimately worked out for number 5. Yeah, I'll be right there. Gotta stare at the pretty colors. Number 6's gym always weirds me out, and not because of their robotic arms. It just auto begins the battle when you get too close. I can't think of like any other gym that does that. With the Hardstone, Rhyhorn can take out the Emolga in one hit. Even if they miss the Rock Blast, they still 1v1 them. Then using Hone Claws, number 7 can eliminate the fear of missing Bone Rush. Thereafter, Mega Ludicolo should be fast enough and strong enough to OHKO the remaining Pokemon. I swear if there's a ton of car noises in the background, I am so sorry. If this is unwatchable, just skip my part. Oh my goodness. Despite being a static encounter, number 7 isn't able to catch Nihilogo. Didn't stop him from trying. Afterwards, he found a treasure trove of TMs before the electric totem Pokemon. Shut up and take my money. You want me to read? I can't read.
I can't read.
Here's to you, R9 Beats. May you rest in Canada. By the Vikavolt fight, here on out, Totem Pokemon will now have all of their stats boosted. According to the math, even a low-end Dugtrio won't be enough to take them on. Why Dugtrio?
Step number 3. I want to explain this.
But like I said, Dugtrio won't be enough.
I said that.
I looked around the map, and I found a very decent option. Seeing how Vikavolt has an Oka Berry, which reduces fire attacks, perhaps a differing type that harms bugs would be best. So I found this small cave near my hometown that houses a few Rock-type Pokemon. Roggenrola would guarantee my win, and Carping could be useful enough, but it also has Zubat. But if I go to Verdant Cave, I can get a Zubat, and make certain I at least get a Rock-type to help me out. Unfortunately, I got the lesser of the two. Now it's gonna be a bit harder of a match. I love that in the shot where Vikavolt's coming to attack us, the game designers wanted to remind me that I missed the Zygarde cube over there. I did get pretty far into the trial, but then it came down to the fact that I don't particularly want to lose Dugtrio, Luscious Hair, nor its links. I decided it would be okay to do my first purposeful loss of a link. I lost Smeargle. Seriously, true to their name, none of the other Pokemon, other than Stuffle, is going to be remotely helpful in any of the future gyms anyway. But because of that, I won.
Are you done?
Yeah, go right ahead. Number 8 probably spent too much time trying to figure out how he's going to beat this gym. It seemed that all he really needed was a Gastrodon with the move Sludge Bomb against this fairy specialist. Doesn't hurt that he also gets stat boost mid-battle. But ever since number 2 botched their 4th gym, that and we're already halfway through this challenge, we really don't want to start over. This gym's challenge is to find what is popular in the city.
Yes.
A city I wasn't born in.
Yes.
How about I just guess the answers? And once again, we're somehow able to win with one Pokemon. Like how number 9's Knuckle with the moves Recover, Iron Defense, and super effective Body Press against this normal gym. That's likely gonna be a strategy. Also, it's funny how number 9's character kinda just like vanishes when their rival wants another battle. Now, I know you want your turn, number 1, so go right. The best is yet to come. And I'm the best. Starting, of course, with the OG himself. Me. Number 1. He does this for a while. Oh, there you go. And that's my story. As always, Sabrina is terrifying. Ultimately, my plan was to switch train mid-battle. Yes, this is necessary. Also, just ignore that name. Then have a fodder Pokemon go as far as they can go, planning to have them feign for a safer switch-in. Well, they went a little further than I was expecting. This is all so that Table, the Slowbro, can learn Amnesia and die. Well, that didn't work out. Obviously, through switch training, I was hoping to get Slowbro to be stronger than Alakazam, but it doesn't stop a crit! Thankfully, Bunny was able to pick up the slack, mostly due to their low defense. Of course, now that my gym is done, let's see here, can you even see Kricketot? No, okay, was he hidden? I can't tell from here because I have bad eyesight. Let's put you over there. Yeah, oh, then my body's covering. What if I just put him here? Also, I wanted to give you an update. My dog is behind the camera. She is still here. Just, you know, she likes being in the videos. Pretty much the rest of these mouth breathers parts is gonna be underwhelming at this point. But let's get them out of the way anyway. Starting, of course, with number 2. Firstly, he attempted to catch a Quagsire at the ruins of Alf, but instead of failing to catch them because he didn't have enough balls, they fled the battle.
Wait.
Just to quickly educate you, the ruins of Alf isn't like the Safari Zone, where Pokemon can flee the battle whenever they want to. Only a very select few Pokemon can flee a battle in Gen 2 outside of the Safari Zone. Despite the fact that Gym 6 shouldn't be too difficult, he had already decided to have Nidoran as part of the team. Guess what? Chicken butt. But for real though, despite the fact that Gym 6 shouldn't be too difficult for them, you can't actually get a Moonstone until like after the 8th gym. Guess where? Chicken hair. For real though, it's not gonna be really helpful for number 2 because of that. There is a second option if you say yes to letting your mom buy you items. There's a chance she'll buy you a Moonstone. He chose no. But she's annoying. Anyway, he can at least guarantee a Machop encounter in Mount Morsdor. I'm reading The Hobbit, okay? Even though it's not technically related to Lord of the Rings, whatever. So while Nidorino didn't help much in the Jasmine fight, Machamp did. Number 3 had a quick scare with Winona's Altaria critting and paralyzing his Gyarados. Even spammed Dragon Dance. Taking the risk with Dragon Rage did get him through. But legitimately, he was like a coin flip away from losing possibly all our Pokemon just because of paralysis. By the way, we realized Winona purposefully chose not to heal their Altaria in mid-battle, despite the fact that they still had one in the reserves. Or at least according to the internet. We're really not sure how Gen 3 handles healing in mid-battle, but he probably got really lucky there. But on to Gen 4. Roark's stat tends to be on the easier side as gyms go. You just need a decent ground or water type and you should be good to go. For number 5, considering teams for the Elite Four, he got Gothita, relevant for later, and Tortuga. Named them Wicked? Is he referencing Finding Nemo or Wicked? Who's to say? You decide. Gigalith one shot at the gym. The professor told me to go right of Poke Center. Where am I? Once number 6 finally found the gym, Mega Ludicolo, along with Power Punch, was able to jab for us a win. Oh boy. I realized something I shouldn't have. Their hats are basically buttholes. Number 7 bribed a man disguised as a Hypno to get the TM for rest. Just gonna ignore the context there. Totem Mimikyu's stats are all increased by 1 stage. Number 7 is used to this by this point. What makes this especially difficult in this case is that, and I checked, their speed is 148. That, and they hit like a truck. After much deliberation, with himself, in a mirror, get out of here! Fine! He decided to get a Fomantis from Lush Jungle so that he can get his Arena to use Trap Kick, in the aims of consistently lowering Mimikyu's physical attack with each turn. In hindsight, Lush Jungle sounds kinda sexual. Still true, yeah.
But wait, Fomantis doesn't evolve in...
No, wait. It's gonna be funny. Why aren't they a Serena? Oh, I'm such an idiot.
Hey, you said it.
Oh, yo, that's actually kind of sad. Number 7 firstly uses Reflect. Turns Mimikyu's ability off, then lets Couch, Carbank, faint. No, JD Vance, not this one! Sometimes I forget about the things I write. Bringing out Greatest Show to lower their physical attack. Unfortunately, earlier they did mimic Reflect, building theirs up, while number 7's was torn down. And though he taunted Haunter, preventing them from using Hypnosis for now, Mimikyu did also feint Greatest Show. Taking another risk on possibly losing our starter. Man, we do that a lot. Number 7 gambled on their Z move to feint Mimikyu, and while it did, he now has to contest with a Haunter that can now use Hypnosis. However, since Reflect waned, Curtin, a Lowland Dug trio, can feint them in one hit. Oh, my heart can't keep taking how poorly everyone else is doing their gym!
We're doing fine.
Onward toward number 8, other than using Leech Seed and Shuckle, number 8 uses this opportunity to Dragon Dance Chaotic Meatball to Oblivion. Okay, now that's how you do a gym. After doing some math, if number 9 maxes out Skull Digit's special attack and gets their speed to 150 EVs, then he can outspeed and outkill all of Rhyme's team. By the way, is it just me or does she have a D word in their hair? Alright, it's my turn. Huh. Anyway, with so much water in this area of the game, Blaine didn't stand a chance against number 1. Also, don't forget to add in the fact that I'm making fun of every single mistake that I have about me. Well, since you mentioned it, your collar is a mess, your beard's scraggly, you might be balding, and I have an inkling that your head is about 10% too small. Don't mind me, just enjoying the Gen 1 sprites. Of course, Omastar is a baller, but Tentacruel either looks like I just took his lunch money or he's gonna take mine. Not even the legendary one-eyed Arcanine was able to sway the dancing fossil. We need a burn heal? More like you need a towel to dry your act up. Perfect. Also, no, we don't really care about the nickname thing. Sue us. Please don't. With Magneton taking on the first 2, then Poliwhirl for the Piloswine, then Poliwrath for the Piloswine. Not sure which because number 2 never specified which. Man, we need better writers. We don't really need that joke twice.
I don't know if I really need that joke twice.
Oh, moreover, we are not smarter than a 5th grader because we could not figure out this mandatory puzzle in the Team Rocket base. Like, this is the kind of stuff that Team Rocket needs to continue doing to ward off 10-year-olds from raiding their bases. Because ain't no way a 10-year-old getting past this stuff. Sentinel 3 chose Sapphire as their game of choice. Simply having a couple water Pokemon was enough for Tate and Liza. He even had a Castform on his team. Sorry, MJTV, because Castform is just as bad as our mascot, Cricketot.
But he was like really useful for the gym though.
You're not supposed to contradict me. Can you just be cool? For once? Please? So hell nah! That's how Gemma the dog is gonna be part of the video. She's in the house! I'm outside! This is a mudroom! For Candace, number 4 decided to use Ludicolo. Generally speaking, if you see a Pokemon in a gym, it's likely not gonna be in the Elite Four, with the exception to the starters. Kinda seems wasteful to not use Ludicolo for something as pivotal as the Elite Four, but they're not very especially good against these members types. It seemed best to find better Pokemon for the job, but at least they're useful for this gym. Well, kinda. Slide to the left. Slide to the right. Cabra! Can you see the puppy? You can see the ear! Ah! I got rid of number 1 just so you can see her ear. She's so cute. About this time, seeing how everyone on the team was starting to prepare the teams for the Elite Four, we had all the opportunity to obtain stronger Pokemon and link them together. Number 5 will be the one going to further detail when it comes to our compositions of our teams. But in his case, he was able to get 2 legendaries right away. For the gym, number 5 went with a surprisingly base strategy. Gotta have fun. You gotta have fun when making videos. Belly Drum, Citrus Berry, Combo Wombo. Even with acid armor on this ice cream cone, which I like to think that they put that like hard chocolate covering on them, it just seems very fitting. Even that wasn't enough for a +6 hammer arm. After getting lost at the Pokeball factory, Mom? I'm not joking, number 6 literally wait, am I number 6? No, I'm not. What number am I? Literally, what number am I? I forgot. I'm number 6. Oh no! Not joking, I literally needed a tutorial to get out of this place. And after nearly suffocating a Mamoswine, breathe! Breathe! I relived the collective trauma we had with the previous challenge. Feel my breath of disapproval. Feel it! For context, this dude nearly ended the 1-week challenge from before. But back to this challenge. Olympia very easily lost to mostly Smosh Games' and Carpet's doing, via either an Ice Beam or a Sword Stance boosted Night Slash. Tells you how easy this gym was since I was like the hardest one.
That's what she said.
Me, Cass. You.
Well, in Gen 7, there's surprisingly only 7 total mandatory totem trials. So we all had to figure out how number 7 was supposed to participate in this voided gym. Anyway, the Dark Kahuna is actually exactly where the 7th gym would be in terms of like the timeline of the game, so maybe that'll work. By the way, I guarantee none of you knew about the 7 mandatory trials. If any of you knew that beforehand, I'm gonna juggle 3 eggs. I'm just gonna do it just in case. Also, I'm using tomatoes instead of eggs because I don't want to waste food. I didn't last as long as I thought I would. Also, remember earlier when we said we would go back to the cemetery? Well, forget that, because here's a more perfect example. Number 7, for instance, caught everything on this route, except for Eevee. By the way, it was really only able to do this despite all the randomization of routes by really using the dupes clause. But anyway, back at the 7th gym, Klefki, or Popcan, is perfect for Nanu. They can put up screens and heal whenever they take damage. I love how Nanu is waiting so impatiently while number 7's Pokemon keep learning new moves mid-battle. Poor guy. Well, I suppose I take back how perfect they were, but that's why number 7 took the time to get that Eevee, because after the transition, number 7 was good to go. This guy totally commits text fraud. At the David Bowie concert, did you know there's a choice specs right over there? It's really annoying not to be able to get that item before the battle. It's literally right there! Thankfully, because of Quiver Dance, number 8 of course had an easy time with their gym. It's really weird to me, however, that Piers didn't get a Dynamax. It's getting pretty close to prejudicial, Game Freak, with your disdain for the Dark Gym. And with the power of friendship, or the power of beating people up, we've all O-code this entire gym. It's your turn, number 8. My turn, huh? First and foremost, number 1 just needed to spam Surf, yet again to blitz through Giovanni. Seriously dude, just give him a chance. Advancing to Gen 2, this is the last of the scary gyms other than my own that we have left for this challenge. By the way, if you don't like the fact that I'm showing fat right now, it is a little awkward, but 1, I've been really working on my weight lately, and 2, I need to stop having such a bad self-image about myself. So, I'm gonna be showing fat. Thankfully, number 2 had an Alakazam on the team. But we weren't sure if we want to go balls deep and go all Rambo on Clear immediately, or save them for Kingdra. We went with a more entertaining route. And it paid off. I'm legit flabbergasted that the physical Hyper Beam from a Kingdra didn't kill Alakazam though, let alone remain in yellow health. This puzzle is satisfying. Very calming. Or the most infuriating thing to ever exist. In hindsight, since this is the only gen with a confirmed father, kind of feels like a nexus point for all the Pokemon gens. Seeing how it's one of the more popular games, it's kind of like all the other gens are connected to this one. It's kind of nice to know that there's at least one universe out there where the MC has a dad. Oh, sorry. Just remember that we're almost done with this video. Oh, heyo. As per usual, against Wallace, just having the typo advantage was enough. I'm recognizing a pattern here.
Oh, that's hot. That's hot.
Similarly, with Volkner, all you need is an earthquake spamming catfish named after our big puppy. Such a good girl. Despite the ease we've had so far with the 8th gyms, well, generally speaking, we all took the gyms very seriously. I'm a little sick. In this case, Ice Cream should be enough for Dragonbeard. Bro really tried to Dragon Dance in front of a Java Joe right here. Bro did it again? Oh no. Another puzzle. Our mortal enemy. Also, what is the budget of these gyms? Since number 6's gyms tend to have only 3 Pokemon even towards the end, it's not too complicated beating Wolfric. Just put down a row of Stealth Rock, then close combating the rest to oblivion.
I've always loved you.
Did she just die?
You know, it was really unclear.
After catching the moon, Starmie happened to be enough for the Dragon Trial by themselves. Oh wow, that's ironic. Twinkle Tackle and they're a star? You know, it might have been a bad game design to have the final Toto Pokemon to have a double weakness. And now it's my turn. Seeing how Raihan's team was full of dragons and ground types, I filled my team out with Pool Toys and Ice Cream. Due to their speed, Flygon is a major issue, so KOing them is pertinent. But I actually do want to keep Gigalith around for the time being. This is so that just Sandaconda would be sent out. If I fainted both right away, he would have sent out his boss Pokemon sooner than I would have liked. I can make them waste a turn of their Gigantamax turns, since I knew they would use a fighting type move on my switched out Ice Cream Cone, and then putting them to sleep, wasting another of their turns. Then my ground water duo, from different generations, can tag team them with their ground attacks. Ultimately, my gym wasn't that difficult, but it would have been a lot harder if I didn't do as much research as I did. And needless to say, as long as everyone at least keeps one Pokemon alive, we're through until the Elite Four. Lastly, prior to number 9's gym, he might have seen a peculiar event. Oh, yo! Is this that shiny snow Miraidon glitch? That or number 9 has been staring at the sun again. Is this that shiny Miraidon glitch? Said while looking at the sun. Let us know in the comments if this is actually the snow Miraidon or if we're just capping. Anyway, I liken this ice gym to a Lycanroc. Fainting, that is. Crazy how much time number 9 devoted to EV training his entire team when he only really needed 2 Pokemon. But now that we've completed the 8 gyms, we are in the home stretch for the Elite Four. We're at last in the final act. As the challenge progressed, toward the earlier gyms, things were especially rough. Losing a single Pokemon could have led to ruin for the others. By the 8th gyms, as has been mentioned, it became surprisingly easy. This was because of the issue of losing a Pokemon wasn't nearly as detrimental, as long as none of us used a link that we planned to use for the Elite Four. And as long as we have kept one link alive, we could all be liberal with our links. This isn't the case for the Elite Four. Now we have to take our time to create the perfect team. While on the subject, some of the other gens can switch their teams out in the middle of the Elite Four, like mine and number 9's gens. We collectively thought it was best to avoid switching out, to keep it more fair for everyone. So now let's discuss who's bringing what. Starting with something we like to call the Gyarados Brigade, plus 2 Toxapex and a Cobalion. We try to make sure each Pokemon of each link were close to the same types, or at least types that have similar types of advantages. Didn't always work out that way, but towards the end of the games, our available pool does begin to narrow. I mean, here's the Excel that we made. This is every Pokemon we successfully caught. In the case of the Gyarados Brigade, patent pending, whether they're up against fire or rock specialists, e.g. Ronald McDonald for number 4, or Buff Brock for number 1, or debilitating the opponent via Intimidate or poisoning them, or just being a strong Pokemon in general, this was the backbone of our teams, the most consistent defense. Then we have our box legendaries separated into 2 teams. Not necessarily on purpose, but that'll tend to happen when not every game encounters their respective box legendary at the same time. You could actually see this as a good thing, however, as it would insulate us as if to say one of us accidentally faints a legend. We would at least still have another link with a lot of legendaries to work with. For the remaining 2 links, they're just generic Pokemon. This is the best of the best for what's left of the Pokedex. But after literal hours of research, each individual Pokemon will eventually have their role to play. For example, my team focuses on the fighting and the darker, insectier routes. As they do do nicely against the common weaknesses of my Elite Four. Some other notable Pokemon are roaming Pokemon, Tornadus, Pokemon found at certain times of the day, Lapras, and number 1 even found a Mew. Technically a glitch, but we decided to have them on the challenge for fun's sake. Lastly, let's end it off with what has been part of the challenge since the very beginning, the starters. No matter the situation, no matter the cost, we had made sure to keep our starters alive, because they're quite literally the easiest link to make this powerful. Making sure to obtain all available items from the lowest Oranberry to the strongest choice specs, and with all that said, let's face the final challenge. Together. Oh boy, can't wait to take on the Elite Four and prove my— Hold on, number 1. As a side note, we decided to treat the entire Elite Four as one big battle. Meaning if a Pokemon dies, that link doesn't immediately break until the last Elite Four member has been defeated. For example, if number 1 loses their starter against Bruno, everyone can still use their starter up until we get to the champion. The reason isn't to make things easier necessarily. This was largely because each generation had at least 4 total battles to deal with. So bare minimum, we're taking on 36 total battles. And that's a lot to keep track of while battling and recording. Okay, sorry. Go get it, number 1. Did you really need to keep me hanging on for that long? Sorry, number 1. You may continue. Number 1 started out great. Zapdos, with their mighty beak, swept the first 3 Pokemon, but number 1 needs to conserve their electric moves for the flying specialist ahead. When Jinx came out, he used that very difficult to use calculator to make sure he made the best decision. Nice job, man. Bringing out Smiley, Gyarados, it seems that Hyper Beam was the best move, being able to skip the recharge turn since it was able to feint Lorelei's Pokemon in one hit. After some bad luck with Lapras, Jolteon was able to finish them off. 1 down, 35 to go. Starting off with Electric Legendary, similar to number 1, number 2 took out the first Xatu. Spark didn't quite do it against Jinx.
Darn you, Jinx.
Oh wait, it says I have to say this with Dingleberg energy. Darn you, Jinx! Good enough? Very nice. He decided then to go for the guaranteed Rain Dance Thunder instead, then sent Ho-Oh thereafter, and with little difficulty beat the remaining Pokemon. Number 3 was ingenious. Not to toot our their horn or anything. He made sure to have Machamp burn Predator League so that Guts would be activated. Even Intimidate can't quench his power. The only issue is that Machamp is a tad slow, meaning he was taking some damage along the way. He took the risk with Absol super effective Aerial Lace since Swords Dance was the scarier outcome had he switched. Thankfully, it paid off. After fainting Cacturn, it was time to retire Machamp for Vinny to finish the match. Number 4 is next. Java Joe's Air slashed the Omega, then did have to Drapion. Blue Buds, Gyarados, don't really watch the show, my family does. Anyway, he brought them out to drain Drapion's remaining health. Curry, Garatina, stonily edged Vespiquen while learning Earth Power, but missed against Caesar. To preserve the move, he used Shadow Force instead, thankfully taking them out. Heracross was scary with their own Stony Edge. Bringing out a flying type wasn't necessarily the best option. So anyway, number 4 brought out a flying type, but only to decrease their attack with Intimidate. A couple times it seems. It's pretty obvious which attacks the AI is going to use, so he can run out of their Stone Edge by using this trick. Welp. Literally always loses a Pokemon on the first Elite Four member. Never fails. Every time. That's for you, Cat. Anyway, it took a KS1 with Air Slash. With one last Pokemon to use against our champions, I'm still not too worried. Just sucks that we already lost our backbone. It's my turn, and I have the generation that started the trend of choosing the order you can fight the Poké League. I opted out of fighting Chantel and Caitlyn for the time being, and went for Marshall instead, for reasons I'll explain later. Despite being thrown down by Throw, Durant still was able to take them on, along with Sock and Kekelder, though I had the risk of 5% chance of Hammer Arm Okoing Durant. Then against Mienshao, I switched into Tornadus, and yet again, I risked a 5% with the Air Slash possibly missing. I can't tell you just how terrified I am of 95% chances. Number 6 can also choose whomever they'd like to fight first. I suppose he went with... hold on. I have no idea the Gen 6's Elite Four's names. Cybold? Number 6 lightly chose Cybold since he has Jolteon, and they're pretty good against his team. And even with Gyarados having Earthquake, number 6 ain't quaking in his boots. This way, through the use of Experience Share, taking out the easier Elite Four members to strengthen his team to help out with harder ones. Number 7 chose Hollow for the first battle. After wasting a turn to Harry Mama's slap in the face, throwing a moon directly back at them seemed like a good retort, as well toward Corbonable. In fact, he just threw moons until he won. We did so much research, we essentially played out each battle in the calculator prior to even attempting the league. We knew we'd win if we kept a certain Pokemon in. So if we could sweep a member, we went for it. Number 8's Elite Four is a tad askew, to say the least. As you may already know, it's more of a tournament. But to keep things consistent with everyone else, we only considered the battles between Bede through Raihan's rematch as his Elite Four, as that's 4 total opponents. Definitely odd, but it seemed the best option to everyone in the group. Like I mentioned, Bede is up first. By the way, you'll notice that number 8 forgot to turn on battle animations, so as a punishment, he'll be doing the animations with his hands. Wait, how am I supposed to do that? Oh, for Bede, he aimed for a sweep through Gear Shift, kinda a double-edged sword since Poison is good against Fairy, but weak against Psychic, as his opponent has a lot of both. By the way, he swears Mawile lowered his defense thrice. Hard to know without the animations. For number 9, Pride to Fighting, he had to take a test. Didn't study. And I'm naked! Ooh. After a lot of thinking ahead, it was pretty apparent that a terrestrialized board, Scovalian, had just enough fire flower power to take on the ground member. Generally speaking, since number 9 has the most consistent way to EV train than the other generations, they're gonna have an easier time with the league. Starting off strong with E2, side note, we like referring to each member with their subsequent number. You know, Bruno is the second member of the Elite Four. You know what I mean. With Articuno alone sweeping Bruno's entire team. Turns out Fly and Ice Beam does a decent job against a flying rock team. Back to number 2. It may seem odd to send a Psychic against a Bug. However, Game Freak did Bugs dirty early on. Fortress was brought out next. And unfortunately, Espeon was unlikely to 1v1 them without taking too much damage. As opposed to just blasting them with Ho-Oh's Sacred Fire, he still needs to conserve that move. Instead, he went with SMN's generic Surf. I have no idea what SMN stands for. And even through a Minimize, SMN thrashed Muck, inevitably losing to Crobat though. Since number 2 knew they were already a fainted Pokemon, not a huge loss. With Espeon swiftly finishing off Koga's remaining Pokemon. Another nifty thing about burning Machamp, all number 3 needs to do is heal their HP, and they get to retain Guts. Anyways, Isaiah 4031, a very good Bible verse by the way, was able to one-shot the Dusclops. Sableye didn't faint to Surf, but at least took away a full restore, subsequently crunching both Banets, doing a number on the latter Dusclops, all before switching to Gyarados to win them the match. Bertha's Whiscash is of course tougher to deal with without a Grass type, but it seems that Vaporeon Surf was enough. Gliscor is faster than Vaporeon, so got an Earthquake on them before losing to a Pokemon that, if you didn't know... No, we're not doing that joke. There's a limit. Grumpy face. I don't know how you can see a grumpy face through my mask, but okay. Well, either way, Vaporeon swept Bertha's remaining team. Thanks again, Bertha, for our battles. You may have wasted hours of my time, but it was a hurdle I was willing to make. Back to me. My next opponent was Grimsley. To preface this match, I unfortunately had to start this Elite Four with a team that had an unevolved Pokemon, Ponyard. Kind of the reason for skipping Caitlyn and Chantel. This is because Ponyard evolves at level 52, just below the level cap. By the way, while I'm on the subject, we're going with the level of the final Elite Four members' Pokemon as a basis for a level cap as opposed to the champion. Which meant, on the positive side, I'm at least able to train them through experience share. But it also means I'm out a whole Pokemon for 2 Elite Four members. As for Grimsley, Will Smith, you know why I called him Will Smith, of course easily took down the Scrafty. Doing so because I didn't want Courtney M to lose to a Brick Break. So now that Scrafty is out of the picture, they can take out the remaining of the work, taking down a Bisharp whilst earning one myself. Poetry. Now I can tackle the rest of the Elite Four with a proper team, minus a Link. But first, number 6. For him, his next member is... Malva. Yo, at this point, I gotta say that we need to divert some of the funding from Gen 6 to the other gens. Cause... Number 6's strat was to use Nintendo's other cash cow.
It's me, Mario!
After some calculations, it seems that number 7 only needed to use a single workup with Jolteon to breeze through, flipper through, fly through this member. Yeah, that works. With the exception demanded by us due to their defenses. Had Dragon Ball Z Zygarde tank the flying Z move, and had SM still 6, Jolteon do the rest. Toxtricity yet again was used by number 8 to handle their next member. And just like before, number 9's Fire Starter ought to have just enough special attack to sweep and destroy the Steel Kid. But despite the sweeping, however, we ain't brooms. We were almost an hour in by the time we defeated the second Elite Four member. Wumbo, Mew, couldn't feint Agasa's Gengar in one hit. They used Dream Eater without putting them to sleep. Can Hypnosis really not hit Psychics in my gen? It can. Then what the crud, Agatha? Wumbo then fainted her Golbat, Haunter, Arbok, and finally the other Gengar. Number 1 is really doing well with these legendaries by their side. Bruno, we meet again. For the last time. You gotta stop mean like this, man. How you doing? Just like with number 1, Bruno has the same weaknesses as before, though Espeon didn't really need Ice Beam to handle the Onyxes due to their low special defense. Camerupt overheated Glacius Glalie. By the way, they're named Bad Shave because CBC made a mistake while shaving. Oops. That's okay, CBC. You definitely don't look like your old math teacher from 6th grade. Too bad they're slow and not entirely helpful against basically the rest of the battle. So number 3 had to switch into Flashlight, knowing they'd use a water move. After a bit of research, number 3 opted for a Dragon Dance spam. Though, cutting it close, that seemed to be just enough to garner the win. Obviously, up against the Fire member, number 4 won with Vaporeon. However, Houndoom is faster and got up a Sunny Day first. Still not the worst situation to be in, as you can just keep attacking, as Rupert Grint here is gonna waste Sunny Day turns healing. Infernape would likely do too much damage inside out with Thunder Punch, so he went into Curry since he didn't have any good moves against the legendary. With the move they learned mid-battle against Aaron, he quickly took care of them, and doing the same against Flareon too, though thankfully they missed the Will-O-Wisp. Not a huge deal since they're using special moves, but still not fun to deal with. Another Sunny Day from Rapidash. Thankfully this time that doesn't affect Earth Power's power, and last up was Magmortar. And once again, Earth Power was enough. Helps I got a crit. My only real fear against Kaylin was really just the Focus Blast. But after a bit of thinking, Beanie Baby, E, there's 2 Ys in this for some reason, ought to make quick use of them, meaning the remaining Pokemon will easily feint to the same fate. Just like with number 4's Ewan McGregor, number 6 depended strongly on Mario to do the heavy lifting by using the Earth to their advantage. Oh look! It's Mario versus Mario. Fake Mario's sturdy ability, along with the Elite Four flaunting their bleep you money, isn't a good combination. But it doesn't take long to find out who the real Mario is. For Aegislash, thankfully Earthquake doesn't make physical contact, because otherwise King's Shield would have lowered their physical attack, finishing them off with another Earthquake. Caesar being neutral to ground moves was annoying, but they're not neutral toward Mario's ultimate power. For number 7's rock opponent, it was a fairly simple battle, mostly just Zygarde wrecking the landscape with Earthquake. And since this gen has reusable TMs, he wasn't too worried about overusing an important move. Number 8 primarily used Hatterene for B. There is a chance for Halutra's bounce to paralyze Hatterene, so use the opportunity to use Calm Mind, which subsequently takes out the rest of the team. By the way, am I the only one here that thinks that Phalanx is, like, not in the room? You know the drill. Number 9 swept Larry, but this time with a Snow Leopard. It is notable that Terrestrialization is the scariest Pokemon mechanic for Nuzlocke in our opinion, but number 9 can at least utilize it to their advantage. And now for the final E4 members. Predictably, an electric Pokemon, Zapdos, was best for Lance's Gyarados. Hesitantly, number 1 brought out their own Gyarados. Neither Zapdos nor Gyarados has a typal advantage, but he's got to conserve his Articuno for the more important dragons. They did thankfully crit them with Hyper Beam. I almost say that was needed. Let's test that theory. No, they didn't need it, but Gyarados still has good footing to take on Aerodactyl, not even flinching in the face of a Hyper. Okay, I guess I felt that. But after a Hydro Pump, Dragonite was brought out. I believe number 1 went for another Hyper Beam, ultimately to sacrifice them, knowing Gyarados has already fainted from earlier. But this Gyarados fought hard, finishing their final battle swinging, even taking down Lance's boss Pokemon. With number 2's final member, Lapras slowly took down Umbreon with Surf. Ho-Oh fainted Vileplume with Sacred Fire. Gengar is a little scary having Destiny Bond. Taking that risk, number 2 went for Psychic and it worked out, with Lapras brought back out to take on Murkrow and Houndoom. Number 3's Drake fight went as well as expected. Having a giant ice-breathing kaiju on his side helped a lot against a team that's mostly just 4 times weak against ice moves. With Lucian, number 4 has far less Pokemon with an advantage, but we happen to be big fans of Curry. I'm partial to Green Curry. Even hit point blank with a Shadow Ball by an Espeon. Shrugging it off, he introduced them to Oblivion with Shadow Force. Bronzong, the tank, needed 2 Shadow Forces. At least they wasted a turn as opposed to hurting Curry to increase the special defense, with Shadow Force being a physical move, though normally it's a terrifying move. Alakazam predictably did quite a bit of damage before fainting, so now it's a little intimidating up against a Gallade. Nonetheless, Curry happened to be faster. Somehow. Always so weird remembering how slow Gallade is. Or at least he's always slower than you would expect someone like him to be. We're looking good, y'all. Last up, for myself, Chantel. Unfortunately, Cofagrigus is so thick that a Night Slash wasn't enough. Not too much of a hindrance, as they were able to finish off next turn without taking too much damage. Thereafter taking out the Golurk, Chandelure isn't so worrisome as I know my Pokemon was faster, and finally Jarlsund, and surprisingly, despite their amount of HP. This Bisharp may have started as a pawn, but they have graduated to a Bisharp. Just you wait until they join the Yakuza. Among number 6's E4, Drosna was the most to look out for. It's crazy how I know all their names now. Gotta love a character arc. I'm proud of you, number 5. Did I just say that I'm proud of number 5? Now, number 6 can't just simply sweep with Mario again. He can, however, make use of Dragalge's weaker physical defense in using Psych Shock, then bring in Xerneas. If they started out with Charger, Dragalge's poison would have been a problem. But now that that's over, Charger can start Chucky Moons. Not quite a sweep, but pretty close. Number 7's final battle was a little more tricky, depending a lot more on switching than the others. Jolteon's Discharge was enough for Sableye, Primarina was able to take care of Palisand, Carbonable froze Delmise, and then subsequently shattered them. Ooh, Confused Ray is always annoying to deal with, so he decided to switch out to have a proper start, using Ironhead to feint them. And finally, with a crunch, they brought Driftrum to a tricky HP due to their ability Aftermath. As long as Aerodactyl uses a weaker move, they shouldn't have fainted their ability. Just don't you dare crit right now. Raihan's Torkoal tend to be annoying to deal with. Water moves are weakened in the sun, and Solar Beam hurts ground users. But with a cat, Toxapex, everything is possible. Bro, that can't be good on your back. Though that's coming from a guy with this posture. Why? With the fear of losing Cat to a Thunder against Goodra, number 8 switched to Duraludon, which has a tolerance to Thunder. Moreover, they have the move Protect, so this toxic train is gonna keep chugging along. Doot doot! Raihan's next 2 Pokemon happen to be weak to 20th Century F's attacks. My nephew was obsessed with the logo at the time for context. That and they were able to increase their physical defense earlier while against Goodra. Since Raihan kept wasting time on weather moves, 20th Century was able to heal via leftovers for several turns, fully healthy to take on Raihan's final Pokemon, his Duraludon. And with a couple of extra iron defenses, they were of no consequence. Really funny watching a Dynamax Pokemon being KO'd in one hit. And like his previous battles, he swept his opponent. And while we ended this section of the Poke League relatively unscathed, leaving with 5 Pokemon, what comes up next was quite the opposite. But I've been talking for far too long. I'm a little tired, I'm not gonna lie. It might be best if we let everyone discuss their own champion. Starting, of course, with number 1. Is that gonna happen to all of us? Whoa, whoa. We're finally at the end. Unfortunately, we're all out of Gyarados. But as a consolidation, as we mentioned before, we at least have a lot of legendaries. Speaking of, Zapdos shocked Pidgeot, along with Drilling Alakazam. Sounds sexual, but don't think too much about it. With my other legendary bird, I was able to freeze Rhydon and Executor. Initially, I was going to switch into Jolteon for Gyarados, but despite being in the final fight, we all still need to preserve as many Pokemon as possible, just in case. After Nice Beam, Coffee, my favorite Pokemon of all time, name-wise really, tanked a Hyper Beam to the face, which means they were able to take out the Gyarados, because you know, Gyarados. My hand was... Oh no, my head! Ah! Obviously, I needed to switch Coffee out. So Wumbo, Mew, took a hit. Since they handled Charizard. Wow, that was weird. Since they handled Charizard's strongest attack pretty well, I knew Mew would be able to feint them, granting me the first victory of this challenge. How fitting. Huh. Alright, your turn, number 2. Number 2? It seems we're having some technical difficulties. While we find out what happened to number 2, let's go straight to number 3. Not wrong. Either way, my story isn't that compelling. Because of Kyogre, I was able to package up Steven pretty easily, with each Pokemon essentially fainting to a single hit.
You got it done, and because of that, this challenge is that much more possible.
Thanks, man. Sweet. Oh, so this is where everyone's going to when they pop out of existence. Feels kind of cold. Yeah, that's gonna bother me while I explain my champion. Anyway, I started my battle with Death Battle, and a Death Battle it was. By the way, please tell me I'm not the only one that wants to put E at the end of Death. Side tangent, but still bothers me. Against Cynthia, I went immediately for Light Screen, since Death Battle is faster than Spiritomb. Plus, it helps against Silverwind. Doing so allows Torterra to easily two-shot them with Earthquakes. I then switched into Tom, named after my dad, knowing they'd use Air Slash, with a single Thunderbolt taking out Cynthia's Togekiss. Thanks, Dad. Switching out to Java Joe's. We're from Michigan, thinking she'd use Shadow Ball, which shouldn't hit Togekiss in this generation since it's still a normal type. They instead went for Stone Edge. Okay, Cynthia, you gotta be cheating. So now I have to switch again. At least Death Battle can handle it in extreme speed. After a Synthesis, I can use Earthquake to finish them off. Melonic is next, switching out to Tom again. They were surprisingly able to one-shot them. Unfortunately, after taking hefty damage, and Cynthia's main boss is coming out, after a lot of deliberating, we decided to sag Death Battle. The first loss for the champion being our first Link. At least, that was our plan. Until they survived! Woo! Let's go Death Battle! Oh wait, they died anyway. I mean, we couldn't just switch out, but still, that's pretty cool. With Vaporeon, they can tank an Earthquake and one-shot the Garchomp with an Ice Beam. Good thing I didn't do this in BDSP. And finally finishing off Cynthia's last Pokemon with Curry. Another champion down, but another Link broken. Introspective. As you probably predicted by now, we are skipping number 5. Gotta have that perfect ending. Well, I guess it doesn't have to be perfect. But now on to me. My battle went a lot easier than number 4's was. All I needed was pretty much the strongest Pokemon ever designed. They took out the Hawlucha, Tyrantrum, they almost finished off the Aurorus, but since they didn't, they were able to get a Light Screen up. But not a big deal since they wasted turns with full restore. Usually annoying when that happens, but sometimes it's in our favor. Goodra is thick, with or without Light Screen. Not for too long, along with Gourgeist. Even through full restores, Mega Gardevoir isn't a match to going balls deep. I was one of the very few CPCs that was able to sweep their champion. Even did a victory lap by beating the giant old man post-credits scene battle.
You win. Perfect.
Alright. Nonetheless, I did my best, and that's all that matters.
Phew! Some of the CPCs are harder to work with than the others.
Hey, number 8! Out of curiosity, do you like bananas? What? I almost feel like this is dipping into masochism. That's a later issue to deal with. Kukui's first Pokemon is always an issue with us. Lycanroc is both fast and has Stealth Rock, so they always have a chance to create hazards. It feels like I'll have to deal with them one final time. Alolan Ninetales is out. And to preserve my giant DNA monster, I switched out to Primarina, as I already know they're 1 week away from retiring.
I'm getting too old for this stuff.
A few attacks in, getting to red health and lowering my special attack, he randomly switched into Magnezone. Weird, but works in my favor, because I knew they would use an electric move, because a steel type attack would only be neutral against my ugly mermaid. Plus, when they switched out from Primarina from earlier, Earthquake can now one-shot them through their sturdy. Dumb. Don't bleep. Ninetales is back, and so is Plan B. Letting him die. Let him die. Oh my goodness. We're not putting that in. Oh, we might now. Just kill them already! I mean, avenge them, Aerodactyl. Sorry, I don't very much care for Primarina. It's not even that they're a broken chain. I just think they're really ugly. Anyway, against Snorlax, I go with Carbonival to use close combat. I mean, I even like Carbonival's design more than Primarina. Same idea for Jolteon against Braviary. And lastly, to decrease the impact from Kukui's Bloom Doom, I allow Carbonival to faint. Since their type advantage won't be of much use, since they'll just faint before they can even attempt to attack anyway. Kinda sucks I had to let a Pokemon faint to win. I get it, you like bananas. Oh. I already hate this place. True! Before taking on Champion Leon. In my game, we're essentially guaranteed to turn this. And since there's a lull between the Raihan battle, we had to consider if I was allowed to have Eternatus in my team by either replacing an already existing living Pokemon or replacing a fainted one. We ultimately decided that it would be unfair for either option. Nobody else was really given this choice, except maybe number 5. But he ended up with a completely different outcome, but I'll let him explain that. Instead, while I don't have a legendary on my team, I do have a little strategy. For now, you can be my friend and time skeleton monster. Now for Leon. First things first, Aegislash and Inteleon exchange a few blows. Since Inteleon was faster, my Pokemon remained standing. Of course, knowing that my starter is a walking zombie, I allowed them to faint for a clean switch in with Pizza. In order to get up a Quiver Dance, they had to take a Flamethrower from Dragapult. Since they did, I could regain a lot of their health with Draining Kiss. I did the same for Haxorus. Being prepared, I had Energy Ball for Hyperior, and Bug Buzz for Rillaboom. See what I mean by little strategy? Because they're little, against a Gigantamax Charizard, I decided to keep Pizza in to waste their 3 turns by using Max Flutter to lower the special attack. After all that work, Pizza finally gone cold. You did a good job, little buddy. But it won't be in vain because Toxtricity Sloan this fake dragon with maximum overdrive. However, if they had critted Toxtricity, I'm almost certain I would have ruined this challenge for everyone else. But I didn't. But with the loss of Pizza, we only have 3 Pokemon left for number 9's, 5's, and 2's battles. And number 5 has 2 champions. That, and we still don't fully trust number 5 to finish this challenge since he messed it up earlier. I'm gonna choose to have hope in him. Don't fail me, number 5. I mean, I don't like bananas that much. Yeah, I got that pretty bad. Speaking of codependency, because I wanted to be out of the way, making certain I didn't inadvertently affect the others, I did everything I could to eliminate the risk of failure. You already know I took the time to EV train and IV train all my Pokemon, but I haven't yet told the story about getting Qianpao. The map stated that I needed a really strong and fast Ice-type Pokemon, as it could theoretically handle 3 of the 4 Elite Four members by themselves. Qianpao seemed to be the best choice, so I made sure to get the move False Swipe, even sacrificed several Pokemon in the process, knowing I wouldn't use them for the Elite Four anyway, all to use them just for a Spathra, and for Skeletor to do the rest through Torch Song. Seriously, a Choice Scarf to increase my speed coupled with a move that increases my special attack every single turn is way too broken. In hindsight, I probably pushed myself too hard sometimes. Oh no, I'm next, aren't I? Oh, there is number 2's champion battle in the document called Definitely Didn't Lose the Footage and re-recorded the whole fight. Sorry guys. Yo, what's that about? Okay, I see what you're trying to do. Fine. Thankfully, mine wasn't too consequential, which is a good thing. I wanted to win as easily as possible for the others. I was able to spark away Lance's Gyarados. With the rest of his team, I plan on having our starter go through using Ice Punch and Surf. Kinda poetic. We kept these guys safe no matter the cost. And that's it. But that's enough for me. Now's your turn, number 5. With only 3 living Pokemon by my side, and 2 living dead, I take on the final 2 champions. First things first, however, like number 8 mentioned, I have to address the Reshiram in the room. According to the game, I have to catch them in order for the end fight to begin. Like, I have to. But so that we don't feel like we're cheating, we decided that I would just switch Reshiram out for another living Pokemon. I could just switch out in the middle of the battle, but since that leaves me with a disadvantage by losing HP for the sake of legalism, I just decided to take out Tornadus out of the picture in place of them. Name them New Will Smith. The battle with the letter didn't start off well. Through Fusion Bolt, they got a crit, taking New Will Smith into half health. Dragon Breath mirroring this. Yet again, we repeat and copied each other, though that has to be 1 HP. So frustrating when that happens. After a full restore and a Giga Impact, I allowed NWS to purposely faint. Unfortunately, Zekrom is too powerful to switch out. Plus, I decided that Reshiram really isn't too helpful for the rest of the fight, nor Getsus. Either way, can use the recovery time for Giga Impact to use Sword Stance and subsequently feint Zekrom, Vanillux, Archeops, Klinklang, or I mean Zoroark, and then Klinklang. Finally, to overcome Quericrosa's sturdy ability, I went for a move I knew wouldn't do too much damage to avoid the full restore range. Then one-shot their remaining HP with a doubly effective Giga Drain. Getsis is last. By the way, what does Getsis' name even mean?
Getsis' name is primarily a musical reference based on the German names for the notes G and C sharp, which form a tritone, historically known as the devil in music or diabolus in musica.
Well, I guess let's kick this devil out of our music. Since I still have to bring Reshiram out first, I just allowed Cofagrigus to feint them. Not my fault if the game forces me to send out a dead Pokemon. Thankfully, this doesn't affect the outcome of the fight. Initially wasting a turn, Beanie Baby's Night Slash took them out in one hit. Actually kind of impressive in my opinion. Though while their attack was formidable, their ability to take a doubly effective Ball of Sweat isn't. You know, Focus Blast isn't ever supposed to hit. Not cool, Getsis. Not cool. Less than 100% being 0% or however that saying goes. Durant, clever name I know, was able to revenge kill them with X-Scissor. It was probably close though. Before biting the dust, they were able to do a number on Electros. Only one Pokemon left, and it's a phone provider? That's so lame! We're not even sponsored! I do still have Emboar for now, since they fainted during a champion fight. While they healed, I decided to lower their speed, before hopefully fainting them with Head Crash. And they don't even feint to the recoil? At this point in the Nuzlocke, I'm only left with a nearly fainted Emboar and a Virizion, up against Getsis' remaining 3 Juggernauts. Knowing Therapist Reacts was too weakened to go any further, I had them lower Bouffalan's speed before leaving the rest of Virizion. Alright buddy, bring it home. I did not plan this out. But as Virizion has a typo advantage against Bouffalant, Seismitoad, and Bisharp, I essentially can do my final sweep. Sacred Sword against Bouffalant, Giga Drain being doubly effective against Seismitoad, and one final slash to Bisharp grants me, us, the win. We won. We actually beat this 9-way, not the sexual way, Nuzlocke, and we were left with a single Pokemon. We did it. We did it! Yes, who are you? Yeah, kinda cringy. You know I'm still gonna hate myself after this. I know. Thank you. And that's it. Thanks for watching. If you have any prayers, please comment below. But other than that, just keep being awesome, my friends.